This is Victoria Christensen with Agile Dragon Group. I'm going to give you a little bit more in-depth definition of some of the things inside of audit. So how to identify some other things and how to use filters. So if you're curious to want to know what is included inside of audit from your dashboard, right, from our landing page here, there's a what is inside of audit. If you mouse over the top of your version inside of audit, there's a link and it goes to what is included inside of audit. So this is going to let you know what is included in each of our releases and the tables and the fields that are also included. So the newest version of audit has ICSES records, which is our serial number changes. Okay, ICSES, that is the table inside of the data lake where things are stored. We also added some fields to warehouse so that you can, inside of security, so that you can identify the default warehouses. The last release of audit we had, we've identified and removed some of the filters that have single sources. So your source is the tables that are included. For example, inside of vendors, right, we have APSV and APSS. So those are your sources. So reports that only report on one source, like catalog, right, where it's ICSC, right, that filter is removed on that dashboard. That's what that's for. Home button. All of there used to be a dragon icon, our logo, and a home button. Now, because we've added some other filters and content on many of the dashboards, it's been replaced. So your home button will always be the dragon. So the dragon will take you back to that landing page. Okay. Max records. We're going to talk about max records, but we need to do that in a report. And then our time period filters. So we've included that as well. And then the other thing we've added was our price changes, right? So we've added customer and vendor pricing. So if we scroll down, you say, well, what is included, right? So we'll see our customer pricing records. So here's customer pricing, and then you'll notice it has a V5. That was because we've added it in version 5. Vendor pricing, it's also included in version 5. Serial numbers, right? Serial numbers was recently added. That is in the newest version, and that came in version 6. And here is the source, and then the field names that are included. So it is the noun name, like it looks like in Cloud Suite distribution, and then the actual field, like it would look inside of the data lake. So giving people a little bit of identifying what field they're looking at, and not just the description on their fields. So when we go back to our homepage, right, let's go to orders. So orders has some really cool things we've done. So not all pages currently have this filtering on it where it says all dates. So this filter allows us to use for setting up those notifications. So all of our filters are on the top. Your source, your order number, your line numbers, your Kono, your default Kono for audit inside of your tenant currently is 1,000. Current record, is this current or not? So right, and then change. So if you want to identify and only see changed records, you can change that filter to only see the things that have been changed. If you're looking maybe to only see things that are new, because audit can identify new records when they were created, unlike the audit inside of CSD. So if you want to see all the new records that were created recently, maybe by a particular individual. So if I change this, I'm going to look up Mr. Jones. And if you don't know somebody's name, and all you have is their initials, you can just type in their initials too, right? So we can, if we have somebody's name, we can do it that way. If you know part of their name, you can just type in pieces of it, right? So we can say, we're going to click on Brian Jones. So that's what we're going to click on. We'll click on this one. And there's no data. So that means that the filters that are applied on the top might not match. So I'm going to remove my date range filter. And now you'll see all of the records that Brian Jones created on the date that was created. So it was either modified on that date or entered on that date. Okay. Modified records will not have a date in the future. They'll have an end date, which will be somewhere in between, right? And then maybe we want to see price changes. So if I go over and I check on all of my, want to see all the price change records that we've included, right? I can search for my price records, click apply. And now I'm only seeing the last 2,000 records that matched. So this filter, this max record filters allows customers to dictate how many records are displaying in this report on their dashboard. Visualizer does have a limitation of 20,000 records inside of a Visualizer report. So if for loading capability, right, if we limited it to a lower number and then they want to change all of them, we can go back up, say apply. I can either hit enter on my keyboard or I can go down and click on my button down here where it says apply. So I can do either one. Okay, so I'll update my filter. So now I see all the new records that were price changes by Brian Jones, and I see the last 20,000 records, right? So I want to create a notification on this so that I get a notification anytime Brian Jones creates a new record with a price change or with prices in it, okay? Maybe we want to, instead of saying new, maybe we only want to see the things that have been changed. So we only want to see it when Brian changes those records. So I can go in, I can change my filter to changed, right? And now you'll see down here, right, we had a original record was 100, and then the new record, the new price was 95. And he did that on 5/14. So I have this filter on the top. So maybe I want to only dictate this for things that he did prior month. So this filter is not embedded on your dashboard, which means it is not a filter that it has a drop down on the dashboard. So in order to make these changes, right, we'll have to click on the filter, and it will open up in our filter on the right. You can also access that by clicking on the filters on the top and then going down here, down to the bottom where it says time period display. Okay, same filter. So if I click on this and I say, I want to include all of the things from the prior month so I can create my notification, right? This filters on those things. So now I can set up a notification for this I can schedule this to come every month on the first for the prior month. Okay. So when we go over here, I click on my report. There's this little action button. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to say create a notification. So it's going to create a notification based on the content and the filters that are currently applied to this page. So we're going to orders, and your reply from is the address that is on your space name. And remember, you can enter any email address you want here. First does not require a license to send or receive notification or to receive first report notifications. So no licensings are included for those types of things. So I'm going to go in, I'll just put in my email address. Right. And then you can put in your title. We can say orders changed by EJ01. Okay. You can put it with anything you want in here. We want this to repeat monthly, right? So we want to get this on the first of the month for the prior month for the filters that have been applied. So when we do that, right, we'll see prior month, and then we have to pick a date. So if we don't want this to happen, we don't want this to happen until March, right? We can, or maybe till April. So if we select April 1st, right, we will not get price change report changes from created or changed by Brian until the next month, the prior in 2 months. So we want this to occur now. We can't go backwards in time. So that's the other thing. So as you see, when we click on our filter, right, today is February 17th. I can't select the date in the past. I have to select the date in the future. If I select the 28th, so the next time the first will occur will be on in March, right? So we'll be able to, it will show up. So if I only want this, we can put an end date. So selecting an end date, which means we will only get this notification until a certain time. So maybe we only want to see those price changes to the end of this year. Right, so I can go in here, I can change my dates, and I only want to see them until the end of the year. Right, so I will get one monthly till the end of the year. So there's a trigger here as well. So most importantly is, let's click on this filter. So when we click on the filter, right, so this is the filters that are applied to our notification. So this is the things that we will get included. So time period, prior month, for Kona 1000, changed records, changed price records that were done by Brian Jones. Okay. And if we right now we're only going to get the last 2,000 or 20,000 changes. So if I want to fix that, we can go back and change this. But right now, let's make sure we select the right attachment type. So we're going to click on the attachment type. I'm also going to select this little box that says include details. So this allows your recipient of this email that they will receive, that will include all of the filters that are applied. So just like we looked at those reports, right? These are where it came from, the timestamp, and all of your filters. So this is informational. I suggest always making sure we click that box so that we have an idea of what filters are included. Okay, and now when I save this, on the first of the month, I will get an email of all the price changes that Mr. Jones had changed. So that's how to do some of those notifications. We can also do a run now, right? You can run it now. You can set up you can duplicate things, right? So if I duplicate this, I can change them, maybe change out who I want and, change out your filters, whatever you want to do, we can do them that way. We can turn them on and off. So if we don't want this to happen anymore, right, I can create a filter and then turn them off. You can also then create filters for other users and then instruct them how to do a duplicate and maybe modify them on their own. So lots of cool things we can do with notifications. All of your filters, like I said, apply to the top, except for your time period display, right? So maybe we've got in here and we've got all these filters applied and we don't know what to do. We can reset our filters, and this will reset our filters to the default of for each of your tenants. So we can set default filters up for any of the filters that you have included inside of Audit. So if you only want to include certain things, we can. If you only want to see change records all the time, you can set a default filter up that for them as well. So that is how all of our filters work and how to identify what sources are included inside of Audit. If you have questions, please reach out. We are always available to walk you through more information.